Everyone. So in this module, I'm just going to talk you through how I've been digging into ChatGPT a bit more in terms of building up the kind of psychological side for one of the market and digging into those triggers, those kind of desires, and those pains and problems of your market. So that's the first part of what I'm going to show you with these new prompts that I put together, and then from those kind of psychological triggers and those pains and those desires, we're then going to ask it as the second prompt to build just to summarize that into an offer based on obviously the market and based on the product or the service that's tailored specifically to that market. And then after that, once we've established that, we're then going to get it to write a sequence, a messaging sequence that we can use for our outreach on LinkedIn. Because obviously, if you're not kind of prospecting specifically to your market daily, then you're just missing opportunities. So this is tailoring it specifically around your market, really. And we're building up, obviously, an audience of your market on LinkedIn. And these messages are tailored specifically to that market because we've used ChatGPT to give us all this psychological research in seconds. So yeah, I'm just going to show you these prompts. So this first prompt, obviously what we're asking it is, what are the main problems? This is an example for a client I'm working with at the moment who's offering business protection and PMI, personal medical insurance, for electrical contractors. So we've kind of narrowed that down. We've got the base of who it is that we're going after, which is electrical contractors who earn over 100k a year, who run a limited company, and with a headcount of over 50 employees. And so we're asking it that, and we're asking it to lead into the reasons why people buy. So I've got all this stuff about why people buy. So it's not based on your offer, you or your company branded testimonials. People buy states on both surface and emotional. So we go into the emotional states of certainty, variety, significance, growth, contribution, the belief ladder as to why people buy. A lot of this stuff is from Tony Robbins. This is his 7 beliefs as to why people buy: the pain, doubt, cost, and desire, money, trust, and support. So it goes into breaking down each one of those 7 ladders as here. So we're feeding this through to ChatGPT to give us information based on this belief ladder and the reasons why people buy. So it goes further into that here. Up to there, and then so we'll just focus on that first prompt. This is the second prompt. So we're going to feed this into ChatGPT. So if you just copy and paste all of this up to number 1, to the top of number 1. So just copy that and then just drop that into ChatGPT. So it's then going to give us the answers and build up like I say, the psychological side based on this as to why that ideal client might buy, the triggers. So it's digging into the surface level, the emotional level, uncertainty, fear of unexpected business disruptions or personal health problems that could jeopardize livelihood and responsibilities. So it's given us all this data, really, which previously, without ChatGPT, we'd have to find that out by speaking to people and doing surveys and researching the market. But this has given it all in like 5 seconds. And all this psychological stuff is gold, which most firms and advisors just don't do. They just can't be bothered to do it, or just don't know to do it. So from a marketing standpoint, this is the gold. This is the stuff that's really going to resonate. And once you've got all this stuff on your profile as well on LinkedIn, then it's going to increase your connection rate when we're kind of connecting with people from the market, because it's talking directly to these people and showing that you understand their situation. And when you show people that you understand them, it builds trust. So all this stuff is gold. So it's given us all this information. Just wait for it to finish. So we've got a decent bit of psychological kind of research that it's done for us there. So the next prompt we're going to give it now, based on what it's given us off that first prompt, is it the second question, the second prompt that we're going to give it. So we're just going to ask it. So thanks. Now give me a customer avatar for my ideal client. as mentioned above, please. So let's plug that into ChatGPT. So it will start giving us a customer avatar, which is basically breaking down exactly how that ideal client looks in terms of the demographics, the psychographics, and just building us up a profile of that one person as to who that is. So it's generally, we're looking up for people aged 38, a male, living in an urban area in the UK, and an over 100k a year, owner of an electrical contracting company, a limited company, years in business, generally 10. We've got 50 employees under them. Challenges and pain points. So it goes into those, the goals and values that one person might have. Even because what magazines they'll read, what associations they're in, groups that they follow, industry forums, LinkedIn groups, webinars, electrical contracting blogs, events that they might attend, industry trade shows, seminars, workshops, even the shopping preferences, objections and role in purchase process, emotional drivers. So this emotional stuff obviously is, again, going back to that first part we mentioned, the main triggers as to why people buy, because people don't buy on logic, they buy on emotion. So that's given us a customer avatar. So once we've got that information, we can then go to the next prompt, which is, thanks, create me an offer based on the outcomes of the most painful problems that you mentioned. Make it short, around 3 sentences. So this is just kind of summarizing all this stuff that it's given us. It's just breaking that down into a few sentences that we can clearly articulate and clearly communicate to our market, which, like I say, just encompasses all that data that it's already given us. So, like I said, this for this scenario, this example is based on business protection and PMI, personal medical insurance. Obviously, you will just edit those prompts depending on who your ideal client is and what your offer is, what you're offering. So it's given us that. It's broken down into one sentence, really. Obviously, you can ask it as well. You can just, if you need to make that a bit more, or if you want it more to dig into other aspects, you can just write a separate prompt saying, please just edit that based on whatever you want it editing on. The next prompt we're going to give it, like I say, this is for the message sequence that we're going to put out to our connections and our prospects in LinkedIn. So we're asking it to build, where are we? Give me a 6-step message sequence for a cold LinkedIn outreach campaign. Make the first few questions with no real agenda. Include a very simple and easy question for them to, that should be answer. So we're just trying to evoke a response in this first few messages, really. There's no real business agenda. Like I said, just to evoke a response and getting them to reply, and then we can lean that conversation into finding out if there is a need for the service, and if there is, leaning that conversation then into getting them booked into your calendar. First few questions, no real agenda. Include a very simple and easy question for them to answer. The follow-ups will be sent if there's no reply from the prospect, and should gently probe to discover if there is a need for the offer. Include the offer. The goal is to get the prospect booked into my calendar for a free Zoom discovery call. The 6th message should include a direct CTA to book into my calendar. Lean into the employee protection and the problems it would face the business without protection and PMI if staff members and key people are off for long periods of time. A goal in the first phase is simply evoke a response. Include a couple of testimonial examples of how we've helped other electrical contractors with business protection and PMI in the 5th. So now it's going to literally give us that sequence. So obviously you can edit this. If it doesn't sound in your tone, it needs to sound in your tone. So that first question is just the basic one. How did you get started? So once they've replied to that, you can reply and, like I said, just take the kind of context from these other messages and just apply them manually, just to, like I say, just to get that, find out if there is a need for the service. So the next one is, it got me thinking about various challenges in the industry. What's one trend, your challenge that you've kept on your eye on recently? Again, that second one is just to evoke a response. The third one, is considering the risks in your industry. I've seen that many businesses face challenges with key members off work for long periods of time. We've been helping electrical contractors secure businesses with tailored protection and PMI. It ensures that even if in unexpected situations the business and employees remain safeguarded, would you be open to exploring this? So we're leaning more into finding out if there is a need. And then with the next message, again, we're just digging more into that and giving some real life testimonials. Would you be interested in a brief chat? And then the sixth one is a direct call to action. So if they're not replied by this time, we've given it one last kind of ditch approach. Often them, because I've obviously used this similar kind of framework, and I've had people reply to the sixth message. They've not kind of responded to any of the others. People get busy, they might miss them, but because we're just keeping top of mind, really, we're keeping the top of their inbox. By the sixth one, they might think, right, yeah, this is the time might be right now. So yeah, like I said, this is, like I say, digging more into the psychological side of things, and that's where the power is, and making it tailored specifically to the psychological triggers of that market. So yeah, let me know if you've got any questions on that. But that's I'll copy and paste and I'll upload this document into the download so you can have a look at that. But yeah, any questions, just let me know. Cheers.